So I'm not even gonna lie. I'm a little sick. My throat hurts. My voice is almost gone. And I seem to have misplaced my beard. What is going on, guys? So today we're back with another deep dive, and today, and actually for a couple of days this week, we actually get to talk a little bit about some ghost types. I was really kind of hoping, since last week was like 3 dragons in a row, I was hoping that this week would turn out to be like 3 ghosts in a row. Didn't quite turn out that way so far, but it's still very possible, I will say. But either way, today we're actually going to be going over Haunter, who is a ghost and poison type Pokemon, maxing out at 1963. With a 1 on attack, 15 defense, and 14 stamina at level 28.5 though. You do actually hit that 1499, which is perfect to getting that maximum amount of stat product out of your Pokemon inside of the Great League. Now, comparing Haunter up against the entire Timeless Cup, it's extremely weird because it performs really well in a lot of scenarios, but its numbers in terms of bulk and stat product are really odd. So 231st in bulk and 172nd in stat product. And that just seems really, really weird, but it does make a lot of sense if you take a look at his base stats. 223 on attack, 107 in defense, and 128 in stamina. He's all attack, and unfortunately that just makes him a huge glass cannon, and you know, for depending on what you want him to do, that could be a really good thing or a really bad thing. Now, of course, we know that's only half of the story. The other half does come down to our moves here. So we do have Shadow Claw, Lick, and Astonish in terms of fast moves, and honestly, there's pretty much a clear winner here. Shadow Claw makes a ton of sense. It just basically has the best energy gain, and the only thing that comes close to damage is Lick, which has less energy, so basically Shadow Claw just makes 100% sense here. For 4 energy, 3 damage at 3.6 after stab, it is our best candidate. For what it's worth though, Lick, which is a legacy move, 3 energy per turn for 3 damage per turn, 3.6 after stab. And then we do have Astonish for 3 energy per turn, 1.66 on the damage for a 1.99 after stab. Now, in terms of charge moves, it's not as clean cut. It's a little bit different here. Basically, we have Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse, Sludge Bomb, and Shadow Punch. Shadow Ball is going to be 55 energy for 100 damage at a 1.82. We do have a stab benefit here of 120 on the damage for a 2.18. Dark Pulse for 50 energy, we get 80 damage at a 1.6. No stab benefits there though. Sludge Bomb for 50 energy, we get 80 damage at a 1.6, just like Dark Pulse, except we do get stab here for 96 on the damage at a 1.92 on the damage per energy ratio. Shadow Punch, our last move here, for 35 energy, we get 40 damage at a 1.14, 48 on the damage after stab for a 1.37 on the damage per energy ratio. So right away, if you actually take a look at Haunter on PvPoke, it actually suggests that you run Shadow Claw, Shadow Punch, and Shadow Ball, which is weird because that means you're doing all ghost type moves just indefinitely. It does make it a little awkward. I would definitely say that I can understand that moveset and the fact that Shadow Claw is going to be super fast at getting to your charge moves, Shadow Punch is going to be there for breaking shields, while Shadow Ball is actually going to be there to basically secure the kill whenever you basically know that the opponent isn't going to be shielding anymore. So I definitely understand that moveset, but I do want to propose the idea that Shadow Claw, Shadow Punch, and Sludge Bomb actually makes a little bit of sense here, and the fact that it actually does put up a couple of better numbers, I do think that it should be considered if you plan on running Haunter at all. So let's actually take a look at this moveset in terms of our shield scenario. Up against the entire cup, we do start out in the 0 vs 0 with a 47.4. In the 2 vs 0, we do end up with a 93.2, which is amazing. 0 vs 2 is a 2.1%. So very, very, like, he's really starting to show his stride. When the opponent has 2 full shields and you don't have any bulk, you're gonna lose a ton of those matchups. But in the 2v2, we do actually bring it back a little bit with 43.2%. So, I mean, up against the entire cup, like I usually say, in the even shield scenarios, I like to see at least 50%. In the 0 vs 2, I like to see at least 10%. In the 2 vs 0, I mean, usually in the 90s is where it usually falls, which he's at least hitting one of those. Unfortunately, Haunter is kind of like really, really glassy, and it really starts to show how bad he can be a glass cannon whenever he's down on some shields. So let's actually transfer that into the meta side of things. Looking at the 0 vs 0, we do actually drop to a 35.9, which is pretty scary. Then in the 1 versus 0, we do have an 89.7, which is okay. The 0 versus 1 does come up a little bit to a 5.1, which is just fine. And then in the 1 versus 1, we do end with a 56.4. So, okay. What that really tells me though is that when Haunter has shields, he's lovely. Whenever you end up in a situation where you don't have shields, I wouldn't put too much faith in Haunter really securing any matches, unless you have really done some preparation and stored some energy on him and can allow him to basically just dump a ton of damage all at once. But if we actually take that 56.4% in that 1v1 up against the entire meta and we actually tear that apart and we look at which Pokemon we actually win and lose up against, in terms of our wins, we do have Blaziken, Beedrill, Ivysaur, Meganium, Venusaur, Frostlass, Charizard, Glalie, Ninetales, Torkoal, Sceptile, Celio, Castform, Sunny Form, Lantern, Lapras, Blossom, Castform and its Rainy Form, Gloom, Typhlosion, Victreebel, Blastoise, and Ludicolo all as wins. And those are some actually pretty good wins there. But I usually am more interested in what we lose up against. We do have 2 ties with Dragonair and Haunter. They should be up in the top right hand corner of the screen right now. As far as like flat out losses though, we do actually lose to Banette, Shelgon, Quagsire, Drapion with Infestation, Swampert, Drapion with Ice Fang, Dustox, Castform, Snowy Form, Whiscash, Kingdra, Flygon, Venomoth, and Wormadam in its plant form. So straight away, out of these losses, we can kind of pick apart and start to really make some categories out of these. Like a common theme that I see in these losses would be dragons. So we have a problem with Dragonair, Flygon, and Kingdra here. And out of those 3, I really think that what we would want to do is pair Haunter with something with an ice type move. Now unfortunately what this does mean is that the Kingdra is going to be kind of the odd man out because it's not going to have a direct weakness to the ice type. But just in general, an ice type is going to do really well up against the other dragons. Things like Glalie, Frostlass, or even Castform in its snowy form will do you really well up against those dragons. Another category that I see that gives us some trouble are the bugs. Things like Dustox, Venomoth, and Drapion, whether it's running Infestation or Ice Fang, does give us a little bit of problem as well. And out of those, I think that a solid fire type would actually do really good. Like Blaziken, Charizard, or even Ninetales are going to do wonders up against those bug types. The last one that I see we do have problems with are some of the ground types, which are mainly the mud boys. So like Quagsire, Swampert, Whiscash, all give us a big ton of problems, and it's usually easy to pretty much counter those. As long as you can bring a grass type, something like Meganium, Ivysaur, or even Venusaur will help you make quick work of those mud boys there. So that's actually going to be it for Haunter today, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks so much for watching. Always remember that if you want to help dictate what the next deep dive is, you can jump down into the Discord and cast your votes in there. But until our next deep dive, which I'm promptly going to record right now, that should be it. So thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks so much for watching. Until the next deep dive, I will catch you then. See you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Always remember that if you like to like videos, you could do that, but if you don't, you could be that guy. Otherwise, let me know what you have to say down in the comments below about the video. I do highly appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want to support me in any way, there are several links down in the description for Patreon, joining the community here on YouTube, or even just directly PayPal if that's your thing. I greatly appreciate everyone's name that's on screen, as you guys have showed some sort of support outside of just viewing the videos, and I thank you guys. You don't understand from the bottom of my heart. So until our next video, guys, I will catch you then.